Welcome everybody to my channel. This I think is the first video that I've posted that actually has me in it. So glad to be here. Glad to have you all here. Now, a lot of you may know me from Twitter. I'm that person who goes in and posts the book tier list every month, at the end of every month, beginning of the next month, you know, all that kind of jazz. A lot of the books that I've actually read are on the shelf. Wow, I'm out of breath already. Insane. Whew. Alright, but anyway, welcome back to this. I've got a whole lot of nobody asking me, hey, Dominique, why did you rank this book above this book? Why is this one a C tier? Why do you not like Name of the Wind? I just wanted to come in and clear some things up for all you, I just wanted to make a video, so now we're here making a video. It's gonna be fun. So we've got the tier list nice and up over there. I went on ahead and pulled up the tier list that I've used, to make the tier list. It's up on my computer. I'm here on this camera. We're going to go together and we're just going to, talk it out. We're going to see if anything shifts, anything moves. Mainly the main thing we need to look at for this list is purely based on how much I enjoyed a book. So if I liked it a lot, it's going to go right at the top in S tier. Like if it was just like, beautiful book, goes up in S tier. If it's, pretty good, it was an average book, it's going to go C tier because that's average. C tier is the average tier. Yeah, then F. If it's bad, it's bad. I don't think I've read a lot of bad fiction this year, but just we have that there, just in case. Yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. Breathe. Stop talking so much. All right, first book up is gonna be. There's no alphabetical order. I kind of sorted them by series, but other than that, they're just on the list. It's great. Our first book up is going to be Breach of Peace by Daniel Green. It's a Flintlock fantasy series, first of the series anyway. It's a novella written by a YouTuber actually here on the platform. We're going to start off by throwing this sucker in C tier, and we're going to try and stay away from spoilers in this video. I don't see a need to spoil everything in here. Okay, so this one's going to be in C tier. Simply because I think the prose was a little bumpy, but then again, you gotta remember, this was the guy's first, published book. Also, the characters, they need that make them just a little bit more to kind of just really make them pop, So I'm gonna stick it at C tier. It's definitely not a bad debut for an author. Is it my favorite book that I've read this half of a year? Not quite, but no, it wasn't bad either, so it's gonna go right there in C tier. Up next, we have Binti, and this is one I'm a little torn on, because this one was kind of a little bit hyped up, so maybe that was why, but this was a Hugo book, and I do think it rightfully won a Hugo. It's a sci-fi series, and without going into too much detail, I do think it harkens more back to kind of the older roots of sci-fi. I'm not putting it in C tier, my finger's just tired, where sci-fi kind of explores more so ideas and interactions of cultures and just kind of a clash of ideals and such. So I think Binti definitely plays up that idea, which is why I'm not going to put it in C tier. And it's definitely not more of a character-focused thing. That's kind of that's the issue here, is I'm a big character-focused kind of person, and Binti is not that, and it's not trying to be that. It makes sense why it doesn't. So I think for those reasons, we're going to put it in B tier. It's a good book. I like the ideas it's exploring here, but I also, it's not going to be my favorite. I like characters, and it was exploring ideas. And, you can definitely do both. And these are both novellas, just so we're clear here. So it's not like it had a lot of time to go and try and explore, everything. So it explored what it could, and I think it did it effectively. Now, hold your horses here. I do like the Poppy War. I like this series a lot. That said, I have had time. I think I read this towards the beginning of the year. A lot of the things on this list, though, it's probably gonna vary from the Twitter tier, just because I've had time and we're putting things back on. So, Poppy War. R.F. Kuang, I like this series a lot. I think it's doing a bit for fantasy, and I think the ideas explored in the Poppy War were phenomenal, and I did enjoy their execution. Poppy War itself, though, I do think we're going to stick it in B tier, because while I do enjoy the characters, I think it does have some issues with pacing. That said, when we go over to Dragon Republic, we're going to throw this sucker in A tier. I know it's S on Twitter. I've had some time to think about it, and maybe I'll reread it. But I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't know if it's S tier. That said, I do think it's better than the Poppy War. R.F. Kuang has evolved as an author. I think she wrote Poppy War when she was 19 or 20, and then this was her next book was Dragon Republic. Love it, so good. Next up, this was a short story that was published and released online as a tie-in to the series, and it shows certain scenes of these two books, and a little bit into Burning God. My mom sent me a text. I love that. Thanks, Mom. Okay. She was talking about tea. It's great. But yeah. It shows some certain scenes throughout the series from a different character's point of view. No, it's a very good read. I think it is a very, very solid B tier. Yeah, just because it's short and I need more. Now, Burning God, though. Burning God, a good book. Definitely, we're going to rearrange this in a second. Definitely better than The Poppy War, although The Poppy War was a good, yeah, it's a good book to kick things off. It's a very quick read. It's one of those, like, I couldn't put it down. But on to Burning God. There are a few plot things that I wasn't a huge fan of. If you read it and you've gotten to the mountain, yeah, I don't like how that one played out. Definitely not as good as Dragon Republic, but definitely better than Poppy War, and definitely by all means not a bad book. Now let's rearrange this a little bit because we're putting Poppy War, and there we go. Yeah, oh yeah, that's all the rearranging. Switching things up a little bit. We're gonna jump over to a comic book. It's a comic book called Bloom, and it was a romance comic between a baker, a baker's son, a baker, and a kidnap man. Baker's son and kidnap man are the same character. It's not like a triangle. It was a very cute book. It was a very cute read, but the thing that got me the most is the art style in it. Almost a little anime-esque, but the thing is everything's done in shades of blue. So the outlines are like character outlines and shades of blue, backgrounds are different shades, you know, and everything's just different shades. So even the shading itself is blue. Blue is like the only color in this thing. And it's just very only color in this thing. And it's just kind of very pleasing to look at. And I don't think it's better than Binti in terms of ideas, but it was a very cute read. And yeah, no, for art alone, it'll get itself up into B tier. All right, on to one of my favorites, in case you didn't know. It's the Red Rising series. But anyway, we have Red Rising, the first book in this series. We're going to put this A tier, bottom of A. I think it was a phenomenal kickoff. I know some people don't like this one. It falls into like a sci-fi drama, sci-fi operatic kind of thing. The first book is very much not like that, though. The first book falls almost into a Hunger Games clone. Staying as spoiler-free as I can, that's not to say that Red Rising is like a Hunger Games clone, an uninspired Hunger Games clone. It does offer unique takes within the Battle Royale genre, and that you're watching it from the point of view as someone who does have significant training opposed to being an underdog for this type of event, going up against other people with similar training. Alongside that, you also get to see this Battle Royale-esque story play out from the point of view as someone who's more of a conquester within the story. It's less of the, oh, I've got to survive, I'm the underdog, and more of the, I'm going to rally the troops and we're going to win this kind of story, which is a very fun take on the classic Battle Royale story that we saw pop up a lot in the 2010 era. But this was his first novel, and I think he still needed to figure out how to motivate characters, and then we get Golden Sun, and that's definitely better than Red Rising. Golden Sun is you take this whole Hunger Gamesy thing we set up, yeet, not even relevant. Nope, nah, we're going on to different things. Now we're just full space drama sci-fi thing. Best thing about reading everything back to back is you can watch him now grow as an author, which has very, very fun. We're going to go on to Morning Star, which is going to be, did I like it more than Dragon Republic? I really did. Now, Morning Star, this is the conclusion to the trilogy. I don't know what else, there's not too much I can say without getting into spoilers, but phenomenal. Yep. That's where that one needs to be. Classic S tier. Oh my god. So many things happen in this book. There's only one thing that I wasn't okay with as a plot thing. Towards the end with I'm not going to yell into it, but there's only one plot thing I really didn't like in this book, and even with that in there, still a phenomenal way to top off this series. Before we start diving into the second series, it's a 10-year time skip, and then second series happens. Amazing. Iron Gold, better than Red Rising? Better than Red Rising, not as good as Iron Gold. Or, Golden Sun, getting my golds confused. Yeah. Hopping over to Dark Age. Now better... This one's fresh. This one hurts. The best thing about Iron Gold and Dark Age is, whereas the Red Rising trilogy was purely from one character's point of view, you have Dark Age and Iron Gold, which start to pull in multiple characters' perspectives, and the author himself kind of said it. He's like, how do I not get bored of writing it? And I'm like, that is a very fair way to do it. That's me checking that my audio is still recording. Yeah, I said, that's a fair way to do it. He's like, how do I not get bored of writing it, and how do I also not create repeated story beats or have a character go through the same thing again as the last series? So He said, we'll throw in more characters so we can get different perspectives on the world, and I think it works very effectively. Piers Brown, I believe he has a political science degree, which makes a lot of sense once you start reading the writing, because it's very political. From there, he goes into a lot of, he takes the ideas of a lot of different political point of views and throws them into this world, and then sees how they would be affected by outside forces. Because, you have certain things that look phenomenal on paper, and then you go and try and apply it, and then you have things like upper classes or money getting involved, and that just kind of throws the whole plan that looks so good at the start into shambles. Next series, and by series I mean book, this was The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, one of my favorite authors. She wrote the Broken Earth trilogy, which is on my shelf somewhere. It's right there. Yep. She wrote the Broken Earth trilogy, which is one of my personal favorites. Phenomenal. She is a very good author in terms of making you walk like a mile in someone else's shoes, even if you don't want to, and it's phenomenal. The City We Became, however, was not quite one of my favorite books, and this might have to do more so with that it was not your traditional fantasy. It's more of an urban fantasy, set in the real world but with the magical twist. It's an urban fantasy where cities have avatars, hence The City We Became. I'm a big fan of fantasy, like fantasy in an other world. What do you call it? High fantasy, or sci-fi. It can be in our world. It's just sufficiently advanced. That's always fun. City We Became. I think we're gonna throw it into B tier. Yeah, we'll throw it into B tier. I enjoyed it more than Binti. No, right there. That's its spot. All right, we're getting into Warrior Cats. I read these a lot of rapid succession. I started reading all the ones I own back sometime in I think summer of last year. I started just reading all of them, and I didn't finish it until this year when we got to that one there, Dawn Trail. Yeah, so that's why only a few of them are on the list, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So we're gonna rank them and see what I remember. I do remember not liking that one so much. There's a lot of plot points and things that just weren't it. Now this one, Forgotten Warrior, that one, I think it's a good average book. Not as good as Breach of Peace, for sure. They waited to hit a plot point that didn't pop up. It's a plot point happened in this series, and they waited until here in the next series to resolve it, and I respect the patience. So let's go into C tier. But that said, I do think it was, what's it called? The Last Hope. I felt like they were trying to do too much there. Not in a super bad way, Sign of the Moon, but I don't think it was as good as Forgotten Warrior, because we got to resolve two things in Forgotten Warrior. We're what? We love that. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Lost Hope. I get it was supposed to be the epic conclusion kind of thing, but it didn't do it for me. Dovewing Silence is kind of the conclusion that's needed to round out that story arc, because it's a novella from, I think, a few characters' point of view, a few ones who are kind of the point of view characters within that sixology. I don't know what you call a six book series. But I think this serves as a better conclusion to that arc than Last Hope did. And we're going to move on. Now, the Dawn Trail, that was a bad book right there. Not quite F tier, but oh my god, that actually might be F tier. They really did E. We'll put it in E. I've heard that series of 6 gets better once you get past the Dawn Trail. The Sun Trail is what it's actually called. Here, that series gets better once you get past the Sun Trail, but oh my god, that one was not it. So many things were just ham-fisted in. They were we gotta get the setup for the next book, and it did not. Nah. Nah. Okay. Jumping back into fantasy. This one was a YA fantasy book, Strange the Dreamer, and strange it was. I think this was a pretty darn average book from what I remember of it. I remember why I didn't like this one. Now, I do like some flowery prose. I do like some good, you look at it and you're yeah, that was beautiful. Words like art. I love it. No, that's phenomenal. But Strange the Dreamer was, oh my god. It's every other sentence was a metaphor, or so flowery out the wazoo. There's some points where I had to close the book and be what? What are we talking about? So, yeah, that's gonna be a good C tier book. Probably behind that Warrior Cat one, because respect the patience, respect it. Now, Wizard of Earthsea, that was a pretty darn good book. I think bottom of A tier, which is still A tier. We still love that. Anything above C. C is average, and everything else is exceptional. Average, good, amazing. Whew. Wizard of Earthsea. I read this book, and I was like, wow, this is like a book that inspired so many books. I think it did Magic School before Harry Potter did, and I'd have to check to see. I don't know, it's hard to pin down the first, but I was like, wow, Magic School. And if, like, how in Name of the Wind you have this whole naming idea? Yeah, no, it's like a thing from Earthsea, and I was like, wow, this is like one of those books that is like influenced like a huge impact on fantasy. It is it's just, if you like seeing that, like where a lot of things originated from, then you'd probably like Earthsea, because that was a very enjoyable read purely for just being able to see like, oh, that inspired that, and that took inspiration from here, and this one also took inspiration. It was very cool to see that. Moving on to another inspiration series, we have The Wheel of Time. This was kind of the series that started the whole, character probably would start having some mental issues, or just not be enjoying this journey kind of thing, from being thrust into a big fantastic journey. Robert Jordan took the time to try, set up that kind of stuff, and I thought it was pretty neat to see that. Eye of the World, I think, was a very solid B tier book. Probably would put it there. A lot of complaints that people had is that this book is like Lord of the Rings. I haven't read that, so it doesn't matter. Moving on to The Great Hunt. Now you take that concept and you dial it up a little bit, because now there's the treasure hunt aspect, and oh boy, I do love a treasure hunt. Kyoshi. I'm gonna be real. I was a little wary about reading these books, because you never know how a cartoon / TV show / movie tie-in kind of book is gonna go. I think this one, in terms of like world building and expanding on characters that you kind of just heard legends about, I think it did a fantastic job. I think both of them lost the ball in the second arc, in like the second half, especially towards the end, towards the climax. But in terms of just characters and world building, like expanding the world and expanding characters that you've heard of but never got to really see a ton of, I thought it did a phenomenal, I was going to say phenomenal again. I thought it did a fantastic job because of that. Like, just simply due to that alone. I would put them in A tier, probably just under, and I think Shadow of Kyoshi was better as well. But no, if you enjoy like the Avatar universe, I would check out these books, because it expands a lot on that. Oh, The Martian. Oh my goodness, that's going up there for sure. The Martian, phenomenal. Now, in terms of just, I picked this up and I said, I can't put this down, and then I read like 3/4 of it in one sitting. Yeah, no, it was it Andy Weir? I have to double check. I'm gonna take out the part where I say the name. But no, he is a fantastic, keeps you hooked writer. The plot, the characters, who cares? It's so well written. It's such a good hooked on book. Oh my god. Like, I could not put it down. I'd be like, well, I gotta find out if he gets out of space now. He's stuck, he's the Martian. It's so good. And then the science, so good. I'm like, wow, this man had details in his science. He said, what does NASA know? How can we do it? Yes, I will merge these and make you stay hooked on it. Fun book to read. It's just fun. Just a fun book. Metamorphosis. Ooh. And this might be just due to translation. I wasn't the biggest fan of this one. Maybe it was better than Bloom. Better than Bean Tea. Ooh. Yeah. I think we'll put it there. It's just the prose was very kind of choppy and just kind of strange at points, and it could purely be that Kafka wrote in German and this is a translation. So we're going to put it low B tier for now. And I think it's probably, if I can find a better translation, then that's probably it. Alright, Name of the Wind. Better than Strange the Dreamer. I think Forgotten Warriors I liked better. I wasn't a huge fan of Name of the Wind. I get it. It's like the big fantasy. If you've been in the fantasy community, you know it's like the fantasy baby. People love Name of the Wind. I just didn't get it. And it has to do with the main character. I really did not like Kvothe. Like, oh my god. No, I did not like that guy. He comes off as so Mary Sue-ish. Like, everything just goes his way. And he knows everything. I'm just like, why? Why? That said, I did enjoy the writing. I think, yeah, Prosophis has that thing where it's like easy to read, but also beautifully stated. It's very nice. That said, we come over to a short story, kind of a novella he wrote about one of the characters that appears in Name of the Wind. This one's about Ari. Now this one, The Slow Regard of Silent Things, the best part about it, hear me out, it took out my least favorite part of the Name of the Wind and didn't have him in there at all. There's no Kavoth, and it's an excellent A tier book. Ooh, I think it might be better than Kyoshi's. Yeah, no, it was a darn good book. It's a very strange book that does a lot of things that stories don't normally do. And it's still phenomenal. The character's point of view and just the character work on this character it's about. Oh, love it, fantastic. And it doesn't have Kavoth, and that's all that matters. On to the next book. All right. This one is a man called Uva, and it looks like Ove, but it's not. And I only know this because I listened to the audiobook, and he always said Uva. It's by Frederick Brockman, and this one was recommended to me by a friend. Definitely not something I would have normally picked up otherwise. It's a contemporary story about an old man called Uva, and he's kind of tired. So it's just kind of a day-to-day going and learning about Uva and just kind of how he got to this point in the world and where his world is going after this point. I thought it was a very, very beautifully stated book. And Bachman's way of writing characters, like the way that he writes characters, his ability to write characters, and the way that he can just kind of state things so simply yet with such an impact, an emotional impact, is, oh my god, it's amazing. And that it's uncanny. Now, this is one of the few books where I was tearing up at the end. And by tearing up, I was bawling. I'll be real about it. I'm gonna cut that. Yeah, no, it was Frederick Bachman. That impressed me. That book impressed me. Now you want to talk about phenomenal here. No. This was a children's book. And the only reason I read it this year is because I was cleaning out a room in my basement. It was this room. I was trying to sort out some of the books in the shelf and put books on a shelf. And I found this book, and I read it. I flipped over and read the back. And it said it's about a cat who floats because he's so fluffy. And I said, yeah, we're reading this. He's a cat. And he's so fluffy, he floats. And it's about him trying not to float away. It's, oh my god. You can't ask for better. You really can't. The red tent, right? Hear me out. We're going to stick it in C tier. Not near the top anywhere. It's not a bad book. This one is a historical fantasy. And I would say it's a biblical historical fantasy, because it follows a specific character from the Bible. I forget her name. Dina. That one. It follows her those stories in the Bible from her point of view. I will say the display of culture in this book is so freaking neat. Oh my god. Like, culture from that, you just don't hear about that. So, like, being able to see that, and even still having the interactions of these characters worship this god, and this character worships the Hebrew god who we thought, like, everyone was going to worship in the book, or makes it seem like everyone worships in the Bible. Like, no, it's very neat to see, like, oh yes, I follow this one, and we still follow this one's. I thought it was very, very cool on a culture sense. I'm just not a huge fan of stories where it's like, from start to finish, the life of someone, and that's kind of what this book is. Now, Redwall, though, oh, that sucker's getting up to B tier. Ooh. Yeah. Redwall. I thought that book was just fun. You can't go wrong with a bunch of mice and an abbey and trying to fight, the evil rat lord. Like, there's no problems here. But Rage of Dragons. This was another one of those books that kind of pushed my mind, like, this is the bounds we can do. Like, we can do, let's go in A tier. Who am I kidding? We just gotta determine where it's going in A tier. Yeah, right there. Right there. Like there. Yeah. This is one of those books, it's actually on my shelf, that pushes the bounds of what I kind of just thought possible with fantasy. A lot of fantasy is Europe. That's fantasy for you. Yeah, but it's a military fantasy series that follows a character on a revenge quest. The thing is, though, this book, it's very cool to read. It's very different than what you're going to read, just like culture and inspiration-wise, because it draws from European culture and then a blend of African mythology and culture all just blended together. So it's a very fun read if you're tired. Like, if you're like, oh, fantasy's just so uninspired anymore. I wish it'd be something different. Yeah, then Rage of Dragons, pick that up. It's so good. But the real question is Emperor's Soul good? Now, Emperor's Soul, that's up there for me. Whew. I think it's better than Iron Gold. I enjoyed it more than Iron Gold. Maybe not. It's creeping. Not Dark Age, though. Dark Age is going to hold the line against Emperor's Soul. Emperor Soul, oh my god. Like, this one, I think, is rightfully won a Hugo. This is a pretty darn good book. I can't really find anything bad to say about it. Okay, I do remember. I don't think there's a gratuitous fight scene. I don't think it was needed. It didn't fit the tone for me. That said, everything else other than that, ooh, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Alright, so the other Brandon Sanderson book I read is going to be Rhythm of War. The question is where we're going to put it. Yeah, no, yes, you might be wondering, Dominique, where's the rest? I hope that the rest has to be on here, right? Like, Dominique, you know this is book 4 of Stormlight, right? And I do. A moment. Okay. So when my friends came to me and tried to get me to read Sanderson, I've had friends come to me, I've had numerous friends, I've had people online to approach me whenever I say, give me a book recommendation. And a lot of people always say Brandon Sanderson because I like fantasy, right? And what they often do say is follow it up with, a lot of his later works are his better works. So I said, okay, why not? If his newer books are going to be his better books, then I'll just read his newest one because it should be the best one, right? Right. So we went on ahead and got Rhythm of War, book 4 of the Stormlight Archive. And yeah, I read that sucker all the way through. Oh boy, I think it's a very, very solid B tier book. Oh, and it's not Emperor Soul good. Like, I'd be pressed to find a Brandon Sanderson book better than that one. Whew. I think it's, ooh, dang. I think we'll put it there. I like The Great Hunt better. I think I like The Great Hunt better than it. What do I like about this? The world building is very, very fun. I do like the world building a lot. I feel like there's a lot of details and a lot that went into there. Also, the diversity of mental states of characters was also very interesting. I thought it was very interesting. I enjoyed it, and maybe we'll I do this a lot. Maybe we'll do like a kind of review on it, just to sit and chat. We'll see. I'd have a lot to say on that book, so we're not gonna say it here, but we'll see if we say it eventually. Following that up was Saga. So I've read Saga's volume 1 through 8, and I didn't want to flood this list with Saga volumes. So what I've done is this one piece of Saga represents Saga volumes 1 through 8. I think the first 4 or 5 volumes were some of my favorite comics. It's a very good comic for people who don't normally read comics. That said, I do think it starts to fall off the farther you get into it. For that reason, I think I'm going to put it at the top of C tier. It's definitely not a bad comic. I think it explores some interesting ideas with war, why there's so many books about war on here. Yeah, the later things, a lot of the later choices and dialogue and situations haven't quite thrilled me. That sound was me opening the top of this and pushing it shut. Yeah, they haven't thrilled me. They haven't wooed me. Not in the ways that the first bit had. Okay, we'll put it bottom of B tier because it's good. Yeah, no, it's just not the best comic I've read for sure. We'll get there. You see it at the bottom. So Sherlock Holmes. I think this one's just The Study in Scarlet because that's the only one I've read. I have a nice little collection, little books that I read. Read them on set. It's great. I wasn't a huge fan of the structure that the story was delivered with. I think it was good. Yeah, I think I'll put it at the top of C. It wasn't my favorite. Yeah, but I do think it was entertaining, and the case was pretty good. All right, so this one we're going to be able to speed through this because I know exactly where these guys are going to go. This one's going to go high B tier, better than City We Became, better than Redwall for sure. Yeah, that one's going to sit right there. I think it's a good way to kick off the series. Not quite my favorite arcs yet. It's a lot of setup. What you're going to learn about me is I don't like a ton of setup. So if you just throw me into the world, I'll be here for it. Like Rhythm of War, I think this is the best way for me to have read this because there's no hand-holdy and I just get to jump in and it's the best. Ugh, so good. So Tokyo Ghoul is going to sit there, just volume 1. Volume 2, I do think does it a little bit better. So it's going to be better than that, but not quite better than Eye of the World in terms of enjoyment. Volume 3, oh yeah, Volume 3 slaps. The emotional punches in that one, oh, that's fun. Better than Rhythm War? Yeah, it actually might be up here. Might be up there with Poppy War. Yep, there we go. That might be a little bit better than Poppy War. And then nextly, oh god. I liked this arc when I first read it, but having started this reread and going through it, I still enjoy it, just not as much as I thought I would again. All right. So let's go on ahead. It's the gourmet arc, if anyone knows what that means. Let's go on ahead and shake, rattle, and roll and look through this list. S tier, we'll start from the bottom up. F, E, E, yeah, that one wasn't it. D looks good. Strange, ooh, below Red Tent. Yeah, we'll move Strange the Dreamer up. I do think I enjoyed it better than Red Tent just because the pacing was a little bit quicker on that one, even if it was a lot longer. Yes, I think those are good. B tier. Saga bottom of B. I think Metamorphosis might be bottom of B. Saga over Bloom. Saga's gonna go over Bloom. Redwall, Tokyo Ghouls. The big epic fantasies. Dang, Poppy War. Poppy War might drop a little below those. I think that's where that one holds. And then these are going to be pretty solid B tiers. Still recording? Cool. Coming up to A tier, a man called Uva. Pretty good. Kyoshi's. Yeah, Slow Regard. I really like Slow Regard to Silent Things. Just the character mentality is very interesting. It's a very fun character study of a short story. Very good. Of a novella. Oh, Martian holds. Martian holds. I've noticed maybe I like sci-fi more. Oh no, we got a lot of sci-fi up in this A tier. And it's mainly all Pierce Brown. And then you could make the argument that a lot of the Cosmere is sci-fi. That's the thing with Rhythm of War. I'll save it. Another video. I need to wrap this up. It's been an hour of recording. Dark Age. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how this holds. Oh, man. Do I like Dragonfall? Dang. I think we'll sort it like that. Yeah. I think Dark Age just barely edges out Dragon Republic. And then Morningstar is going to be the S tier here. Yeah, Morningstar was fantastic. But yeah, that's going to be the tier list. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you enjoyed watching me kind of just bebop my way through this tier list and kind of give an explanation, hopefully, for why I put things where I put things and, shake it up a little bit too. Let me know if if this was like at least in the entertaining level for you. Let me know. I've also been thinking of doing more of an objective review on just kind of all the books. Don't worry, we have a whole rating system. It'll be great, and I promise it's objective. Absolutely objective. Like, I would never do 2 subjective videos in a row. Yeah, no, that's just not me. I would never. No. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you had a fun time watching this tier list. And, if you read any of these, love to hear your thoughts on it. Drop a comment down below. Be sure to do that like, that comment, that subscribe, all that YouTuber jaunt. And, I'll catch you later.